Yeah, we both wish that we had made this transition earlier.
Yeah.
But we're glad we're here now.
Yeah.
I'd like to go back to the money. If you think you have enough money, take the step. If you don't think you have enough money, you can get a job online and take the step.
Yeah, like leverage it.
Leverage it. Because what we paid for this property a year and a half ago, it's gone up by 30% since we've been here.
And it shows that it's going to go up by another 30% in the
Right.
next 2 years. So yeah, I mean, it's a good investment. You can definitely turn your money into more money.
Absolutely.
I moved to Mexico, giving you a sneak peek into the lives of people from all over the world who moved to Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Hola, hola. I'm Diani Leal, and this series is brought to you by Dianimite Investment Realty, based in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. We are here today with Gwendolyn Harrison and Stanley Payne from the United States, who moved to Mexico about a year ago, and they're going to tell us a little bit about their experience. Hey guys.
Hi, how are you?
Hello.
Good. How are you guys doing today?
Wonderful.
Thanks for joining us.
You're welcome.
So why don't you take it from the top? What brought you guys together, and then what gave you this idea of just packing it all up and moving to Mexico?
Well, we met in California, and because we both lived there for a very long time, and then we ended up moving to Georgia. And he actually had the idea of moving to Mexico and had to sort of strong arm me to even consider. But once I did and got on board, you know, really excited about the possibility of moving here and starting this new adventure.
It's funny, it seems to be common. I met a couple recently, and it was almost the same thing. The guy was really into it. He'd watched every YouTube video. He knew everything about moving to Mexico. And he's like, I just have to convince my wife.
That's correct. I watched every video.
So why Mexico? And
It's been a childhood dream. I've always had this picture running in my mind that I wanted to go back to the tropics.
Where are you from originally?
Trinidad. To the Caribbean or somewhere within the two tropics, Cancer or Capricorn. And I ended up thinking about Mexico because Mexico was really close to my mom, my family. They're in Georgia.
Okay.
And I just decided that I'm gonna look here and see if there's a place that I think that I would like to be, and we started doing that.
Okay, cool. So kind of like full circle, like
Yeah.
start in the tropics and end of the tropics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to live by a river, have a little vegetable garden.
Oh, I forgot about this vision. Yeah.
Go fish in the river, be on the beach, have a hammock, all that kind of stuff from my childhood.
Yeah. So you're researching, you're thinking, I want to move to Mexico. I know I want to go to Mexico. How did you land in Puerto Vallarta? What were the other places you were considering? And what was your adventure exploring to figure out where you were actually going to be?
And that's her story.
Oh, okay.
So he was researching Merida, and so that's where we started and actually loved it. But then after that, he felt like he wanted to be closer to the water. So our next visit was to Playa del Carmen, which we absolutely loved. We love the blue waters there, and just really very pretty. And then we decided to come here to Puerto Vallarta to
Visit.
Yes.
Because we were visiting different towns to settle on someplace eventually.
Yeah.
And we just started like 6 months before. We'd been to about 3 or 4 different places. And she decided.
She decided.
This is a unilateral decision, apparently.
Well, the thing is that we actually spent more time here in Puerto Vallarta in this area than we had spent in the other locations that we had been going to. And this place just really spoke to me. And I was like, okay, this is where I want to be.
So it's interesting to me because you're originally from the East Coast. You're
Yes.
from New Jersey. And I'm from Philadelphia.
Right.
Yeah, so East Coast people.
Yes.
But you also lived in the Bay Area and California for a really long time, right? Like 20
For
years?
Almost 40 years.
40 years.
Yeah.
Okay, wow. Yeah. So, and so it is interesting because a lot of people say, oh, I'm here, I'm on the East Coast. It's closer just to go to the Atlantic side of Mexico, right? But I also, and I've met a couple people from Philly who come and visit and they're like, I don't know what it is. I just love Puerto Vallarta. You know what I mean? And it is like something special. And I've also always felt like the Pacific Coast calling me. Like I left and even in Nicaragua, I was on the Pacific Coast. So
Okay.
yeah, so it's just, it's interesting when you feel that connection with a place, right? And you just knew that this was the spot.
Yes.
She did.
You were not as convinced.
No, I really didn't want to come to Puerto Vallarta at first. I wanted to stay on the Yucatan Peninsula because I like the Caribbean, the waters, the beaches.
It's very beautiful, yeah.
And I also thought that, well, if she didn't go somewhere that she'd like, she wouldn't be happy. So I said, okay.
You know what they say, happy wife, happy life.
Yeah, but happy husband, happy life too.
Yeah.
That's true, that's true.
The other thing for me as well was not only being here, but Puerto Vallarta is also closer to California, which is where we both spent a lot of time, and we still have family and friends there as well. So,
That's right.
You know, this again was sort of an easy decision, at least for me.
Yeah, yeah, and you guys go back and forth a lot, or at least you have this past year.
Yes.
So the access to the airport and the easy international transport, I'm sure, is a factor as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it was about November of 2023
That's
that
right.
you purchased
Yes.
a Presale Condo at Di Toscana in Nuevo Vallarta, and the delivery was pretty soon afterwards. I mean, it was in March of that
Right.
following year. And you've been here, living here for about a year now.
Correct.
So how is it now that you've been here, and also Stanley, I know that it wasn't your first choice, so how have you felt about living in Puerto Vallarta and in the Nuevo Vallarta area? You know, how are you settling in?
Well, I'm comfortable. I can visit the other places, but this is a good place to take off from. This is a good place to settle and a good place to visit wherever else we want to visit.
Yeah.
We have an international airport. It's about 10 minutes down the road.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. It's accessible. Yeah.
For me, this past year has been a really good experience. There have been few bumps in the road, and there's been a lot of adjustment in terms of expectation from how we live in the US versus living here in Mexico, but overall it's been a really good experience. I've enjoyed the whole process. And one of the things that I am really grateful for is when we initially met you and started looking, I personally wanted to look at a single family residence.
Yeah.
And then we settled here at Di Toscana in a condo, and I haven't lived in this type of environment for a very long time. But I think it was the best decision for us because the people that we've met here in this building have really helped us navigate being in a new country and making our way through everything, you know.
Been so helpful.
Yeah.
Like with everything, just the logistics of
Everything.
relocation and
Finding what we need, talking to Samsung.
it is nice that right here in your building you can just find people to help you out with
Yes.
those little things, because I think one of the biggest challenges to relocating internationally is, of course, you have to navigate a lot of things that would be really easy no matter where. Let's say you move to a new city in the States, it's going to be easy because you speak the language, you know the culture. There's a lot more factors to weigh in here. Even like some of the basic details like that we've been talking about, like getting a VPN or ordering on Amazon or your address, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like you said, the Samsung, it's just like the things that you'd think would be easy are kind of complicated. So.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think also for us, and for me particularly, everyone that we have met, and I'm talking about the people that live here in our building, but also the Mexican people in general have been absolutely so wonderful, so nice. It's just been a really good experience.
Oh, good. Yeah, and that's what I was going to ask about the community too. Like, have you made a lot of friends here in the building, outside of the building, or how have you managed to meet people? How have you connected with people here?
Well, we've actually made quite a few friends right here in our building, and one couple actually lives close by to us in Georgia, so
Wow.
so that's been really nice. But yeah, overall, the owners here in the building are extremely nice as well, and it's been a really good experience being here, and making friends with them. We haven't made a lot of friends outside of this environment, but we're hoping to make that reality as well.
Yeah. And I mean, that just goes to show that choosing the condo is probably a good move, right? Because you've made a lot of friends. And I think you were saying that you spent the holidays with people here in this building.
Yeah, it was really great, and we actually love our rooftop, and even for New Year's, we had actually dinner with a neighbor, and then we all went up to the rooftop and watched the fireworks for New Year's Eve, so that was a lot of fun.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So speaking of the logistics of relocation and a lot of those details, and I think that's what a lot of people, like you, were going to YouTube and watching all the videos when you're thinking about moving to Mexico. And a lot of people that are watching this video right now are thinking, is this the right place for me? Or they're already at the stage where they're like, I'm definitely going, but how does it all work? And can you just tell us a little bit about those first steps when you got your condo, how you bought the furniture, and maybe even just take us through and let us know what inspired you or where you got things, and just a little bit of a tour, and just any tips you might have for people that are watching and thinking about how does that work, or they're thinking about the pre-sale possibility, because then you get a place from scratch and you can customize it, so that's a big pro. But there's some cons, like you have to wait for it, and you might feel a little bit nervous about that idea. You're buying something that hasn't fully been built yet. So how has that whole experience been? I know that's a lot of questions.
Well, for us, the pre-sale for this place was, I think, personally, an easy transition, and I think the reason for that is you made that very easy for us, because I know that I was a bit concerned. Again, we're transitioning to a new country, and having to go through all of the processes that you need to make a purchase, and sometimes you wonder, okay, is this going to work out? Am I going to lose my investment? That sort of thing. But you helped us make that transition very easily.
Oh,
so
we're
extremely grateful for that. We felt, and I will speak for myself, he can tell you as well, but we felt very comfortable not only in the decision that we made, but also that this was going to work out for us.
Oh, good. I'm so happy to hear that. That makes me happy.
So then, once we got our keys and all excited about being here, then the step was this canvas and creating a home for us. That required a lot of going around and looking at different places. It was a little bit more challenging for us initially because we didn't have a car. So getting around and finding what we wanted took a little bit of time.
Although Uber is very inexpensive, you can get around everywhere, anywhere.
It's true, yeah. And you guys, did you take the bus too, or you just did Uber and taxi? You did, yeah.
Yes, we've taken the bus a couple times.
We took the bus to Tlaquepaque and Tonala.
You did?
Oh my goodness.
Took the bus to Sayulita.
Yeah. So I would say for anyone who is actually looking for furniture, although there are some great places here in the Puerto Vallarta Nuevo area, if they have an opportunity to go to Guadalajara, Tlaquepaque, Tonala, you will get some great finds.
Okay.
Some really great finds. We've bought a couple of pieces. Actually, the outdoor furniture that we have here, we got in Tlaquepaque.
Oh, okay.
And much more reasonable than it would have been for us here, buying here locally.
Actually, any furniture that you would get here, they would order it from the Guadalajara area and send it
Oh,
here.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then you're just sourcing it more directly. You have
Yes.
more options, and then you can
Cutting
eliminate
out the
some of those
middleman.
yeah, you cut out the middleman.
Right,
Exactly.
right.
Yeah, because I think you did a lot more research than anybody really that I have known in sourcing your furniture, because you got so much from so many different places.
Right.
And as we were
Right.
talking about before the cameras were rolling, I see that everything is very, very well thought out, very planned. It's all, you took a lot of time. I mean, really a year in
Yes.
picking
Yeah.
individual things. Would you recommend that? Because I know that there is always the option of also just outsourcing that furniture thing to just one place and having them pick it. And it was a lot more work, but you got to really create your vision, right?
It was more fun.
It was more fun.
Going to a lot of different places. Yeah, it's more
That's
fun.
true. Yeah, because furniture shopping is kind of an event.
It's an experience on itself.
Yeah.
It's like moving from one place to the next.
Yeah, because you did, HDA.
Casa
Artisano.
Artisano, Tlaquepaque, Casa Playa, which is right here in
Oh, yeah.
Nuevo, and I'm trying to think where else. Oh, Artel, which is in the Marina.
Okay, wow.
So yeah.
Yeah, you got one thing from each
Right,
souvenirs.
right. And again, as he said, it was fun just shopping around and finding the different pieces and then putting them all together and
Yeah.
seeing how they work together.
Yeah, I mean, it looks amazing. Really came together.
We are very happy, very happy. So, yeah, I mean, for anyone who is adventurous like that, I would say, yeah, give that a try. Just going to different places, because there's some wonderful, wonderful furniture places. And I don't know, I think when I came here, because I've worked for a high-end furniture retailer in the States, and my thought was, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be able to find the types of things that I would like here in Mexico. Absolutely not the case. Oh my gosh, there's some,
You found everything here.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there are some.
And they're made out of real wood.
Yes, that is true. Yeah.
And it's always like Perota, Mappa, the good stuff,
Yes,
right? Yeah.
Yes. So very pleased with the selections here in Mexico. But if they have an opportunity, I say Tlaquepaque is my jam. I love it, love it.
All right. Yeah, I really appreciate all the research you've done on the ground. I take a lot of your tips and share them with other clients too,
good.
because you've really done the work in the furniture investigation area. Another thing is you guys have, I know you've gone back and forth, and there's been a lot of this transition period in moving abroad and moving to Mexico and getting everything taken care of. Is there any lessons you learned the hard way that you could have avoided in hindsight that you could share with people so they don't make the same mistakes that you've thought of?
Well, one right off the top of my head is I would have saved myself a lot of stress if I realized and appreciated that things don't move here on the same time frame in Mexico as not only in the United States, but also my time frame. So I've had, again, because a lot of the pieces that we have here were custom made, and
The art pieces, the furniture pieces.
the furniture pieces have been custom made. And I would be given a date, and I would probably have to add 2 or 3 months onto that date. And that was initially a major frustration for me, because I'm one of these people that you tell me a date or a time, that's my expectation.
So it's like the opposite of over-promising and
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, over-promising and under-delivering.
So if you know going in that you just have to add an additional month or two on whatever time frame that you get, I think you'll
Adjust your own
keep
expectations.
yeah. You'll keep yourself from having a lot of anxiety.
Yeah.
So
That's a good
just
tip.
one of the things that I have had to adjust to.
Yeah, that's a really good tip. Just kind of go in with that expectation. Because they say that happiness equals the difference between expectation and your actual reality.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you just keep your expectation where reality is,
Yeah.
you'll just be happy.
Yeah, absolutely.
What about you, Stanley?
Well, as far as paying for certain things to be done while we're here or after we moved in, if I knew when I was purchasing the place that I could get craftsmen here to do what it is I wanted at a cheaper price, I would have saved myself a lot of money, including it in the price of the purchase.
Oh, yeah. So that's a really good one too. Negotiating some of the upgrades and other alterations you might
Or
want with the
realizing
developer.
that afterwards you can find good craftsmen to come and do it.
Oh, so not
At the
doing
local
not doing the
prices.
developer, right? So okay, that's a really good point. So you're saying instead of getting those developer add-ons where they just tempt you because you're thinking, I want to move in and have as many things ready as possible, and I don't really know how to outsource all of these things that I need. That really just brave it. Don't be tempted by these add-ons. Get it as it is, and then when you get in, do it yourself, and you're going to get a way better deal.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a really good tip. Yeah, I'm sure people will benefit from that because it's
Yeah.
true. It just seems like, oh, this is just the way it's done, you know? And yeah, but there's a margin there, a profit margin for them.
Yeah.
So yeah. Another aspect of that transition is, of course, you're leaving behind the States. You're leaving behind your family, your friends, your life, everything there. Is there anything you really miss about the U.S. now that you're living here in Mexico? I know you guys go back and forth, so you haven't had a lot of time to miss things yet, but you know, when you are here.
I think for me, initially, it was the transition of being here and not being around my family and friends was a little challenging. But as you know, I just had some surgery and I was back in California for 2 months.
Yeah.
And when I tell you I could not wait to get back to Mexico, I was like dying to get back to Mexico. So what I initially missed has slowly faded away because I'm just really enjoying my experience here and living here in Mexico.
So just like some of the comforts and stuff you may have missed, or
A few things. I mean, there are certain things that...
Napa.
Yeah.
what is it? Napa?
Napa, California. Yeah, I'm a wino, and I love my California wines. And I lived very close to wine country, so
Yeah, it's
that's
true.
one of the things that I do miss. But other than that, there really isn't a whole lot. When we go back, sometimes going to some grocery stores, there are things that we like and can get there that we can't get here. But you just make those adjustments after a while.
Yeah, that's true. And what about you, Stanley?
I have a few friends that I would like to sit down and have a belly laugh with. But other than that, I miss nothing.
Well, you got to invite them here. You have a guest room.
Yeah.
And what do you miss the least about back home? Like,
What I miss the least is that energy of the hustle and bustle and just feeling like there's no time for yourself. You know, we're retired, but even in retirement, you just feel like you're going all the time, and there's just a high level of energy that we've taken down so much since we've been here. So I don't miss that at all. I don't miss the traffic. You know,
you're probably adding years onto your life too.
I'm sure. I'm absolutely sure. So those are the things that I miss the least. I don't miss those at all.
And what about you?
Yeah, I miss the stress the least.
The stress.
Yeah.
And I distinctly remember you saying, it just stuck in my memory when we were looking for places, and you were saying, the thing I regret the most is not having done this sooner.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
We actually met a couple last week who was visiting here, staying in our building from Texas, and they apparently come here regularly and are considering, I mean, I don't know if that's something seriously that they're considering, but you know, what we were telling them is if it's something, and tell anybody, if it's something that you're considering, absolutely push the button and do it.
Right.
And sooner rather than later, because we're in Nuevo Vallarta, which we absolutely love, and we love the peacefulness of it, but I think it's going to get a little busier because it's such a great place to be.
Yeah.
You know, and as more people find out about it, they're going to want to come. You know, so if anybody's considering making that transition, I would say do it now.
Okay, I think that's really helpful advice because you can only plan so much, right? Before you just have to pull the trigger and just do it.
Absolutely.
That's another question that I was thinking. How do you feel about your investment and the area and Nuevo Vallarta in general? Because you were originally thinking about PV, right?
Yes. Yeah. And because that's where we stayed when we initially came here, and we loved it and didn't know anything about this area, but I couldn't be happier here, you know, and would much prefer here than Puerto Vallarta. I mean, we love to go to PV and hang out and go to restaurants and so forth, but to live, this was a great move for us.
Yeah, and then you said you were happy with your investment, like in D Toscana too.
Absolutely.
I guess that's just what you say, right? That you wish it was sooner.
Yeah, and I think while he has always envisioned being in the Caribbean or the tropics, my very first time to Mexico was Tijuana back in the 80s, and it was the worst experience. And I absolutely never wanted to come to Mexico again. So until he was insistent that we consider Mexico, I never thought about it.
Yeah.
And once I got here, I wish that I had thought about it even 10 years earlier.
Yeah.
You
So
know.
you hear that? Don't judge Mexico by Tijuana
That's
in the
right.
80s.
Absolutely. So yeah, we both wish that we had made this transition earlier.
Yeah.
But we're
Here we
glad
are.
we're here now.
Yeah, well, that's great. I think that's pretty much everything. Do you guys have anything else you want to add to people who might be considering making this move?
I would say that for anybody that's considering it, that this is the right time to make that decision to do it. Give it a try, and I think you'll be very pleased with this whole area.
All right.
I'd like to go back to the money. If you think you have enough money, take the step. If you don't think you have enough money, you can get a job online and take the step.
Yeah, like leverage it.
Leverage it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, leverage what you do have just to get your foot in the door, and then you can create a life here.
Yes. Because what we paid for this property a year and a half ago, it's gone up by 30% since we've been here.
That's true. That's a really good point. And it's going to go in the next 2 years. You see the projected prices
Right.
at Luca, and it shows that it's going to go up by another 30% in the
Right.
next 2 years. So, yeah, it's a good investment. You can definitely turn your money into more money.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Well, thank you guys for joining us today and for sharing your insight and everything with people that might really be considering making this move.
Absolutely. And thank you. We really have to give a big thanks to you for helping us make this transition. We really mean that.
And thank you for joining. And if you haven't yet, please make sure to hit the subscribe button. Until next time.